I offer my sincere Dandavat Pranam to all of the assembled devotees. My exalted God brothers, God sisters, are very honored, worshipped Brijbasis, and to all devotees who have come on this very holy pilgrimage from all parts of India and many parts of the world. Today we are celebrating Govardhan Puja at the lotus feet of Shri Giriraj Govardhan Hill. Forgive me, but I'm just seeing this wonderful pandal. It took so many months of planning and so many weeks of trying to put it together. Now there are so many devotees under the shelter and protection. And I'm just thinking, Krishna, when he was only 7 years old, he effortlessly, gracefully lifted the Govardhan Hill as a little child lifts a mushroom over his head. And Govardhan had already been revealed to be Krishna, and also in the spirit of the greatest of devotees of Krishna, with the Achinta Shakti, with the inconceivable power, potency, sweetness, and love of Krishna. When Krishna lifted Giriraj to please, to serve, to give shelter, to give happiness to every single devotee, the gopas, the gopis, the brahmins, the cows, the goats, the buffaloes, the insects, the birds, the animals, everyone. And he adjusted his size just so that everyone and everything could be completely comfortable. Sometimes we talk about devotee care. Oh, he is Giriraj's Haridas Varya because he is supreme devotee care. And it takes us so many hours to do parikrama around Govardhan. And at the time of Krishna, it was much larger in size. We started planning this yatra at Govardhan just one day after the Mayapur yatra concluded last year in Kartik. It takes a whole year, and finding the space and erecting this pandal and having a sound system so people could hear. So much effort. But Krishna in one moment lifted up this hill where there were hundreds and thousands and 900,000 cows of Nanda Maharaj and so many others, and everybody fit completely comfortable, and nobody was adjusting a sound system. And Giriraj had to expand to fit everybody and everyone, and nobody was crowded. And yet when Krishna spoke, Ravi Karnapur describes his words came from the same place within the core of his heart, and came from the same place as the lips that would play his flute. Every word Krishna would speak was as sweet with love as his flute, and everyone could hear perfectly attentively. Now sometimes we have these they call it wireless earpods, where you could personally hear. When Krishna spoke, whether a gopa was right in front of him, or whether a gopi was miles away from him, or whether a bird was 10 miles away from him, everyone could hear the same words perfectly. It's the power of Krishna's Bhakta Vatsal, his love, his compassion to his devotees. Govardhan Puja is one of the most, if not the most, highly anticipated celebrations in Braj Bhumi. Every temple, every house, every shop in all of Braja, the land of Vrindavan, a celebration of Govardhan Puja. And by the magnanimous compassion of Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, it's like he extended the shelter of Govardhan Hill to the whole world. And tens and thousands of temples, homes, ashrams worldwide at this time are joining us to celebrate Govardhan Puja. I wish to thank you. Devotees prepared 3,500 offerings today. Please raise your hand, both hands, and say Hari Bol if you went back into the kitchens where we were cooking today. It was just in the dirt of Vrindavan, dust in the air, little tiny handmade stoves cooked with either wood or the fibers of the husks of wheat and corn. So there was a lot of smoke. When I was walking around just offering gratitude to everyone was crying. And even a person with such a hard heart as myself, I was crying. That is the power of Giriraj's mercy that came through that smoke. It's how much spiritual advancement, if without any pretension or imitation, we genuinely, spontaneously cry in our devotional service here at Govardhan Hill. It's very exalted fortune. And there was no false tears. And breathing in smoke in the eyes, dust, and everyone's just sitting on the ground, even old people who never sit on the ground. And I think there was like almost 200 stoves, and their shifts beginning last night, through the night, all morning. And I believe some of you from Mumbai or Delhi or London or New York, you have very state-of-the-art, modern, convenient kitchens. Yes, you just press a button and everything just does things so nicely. Stainless steel, marble cabinets. But I believe until the day you die, even if you live 100 years or more, you will never forget today as the most wonderful experience of cooking you ever had. Srila Prabhupada writes in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna does not accept the thing that we offer. He accepts the intention, the affection, and the love in which it is offered. Yes, I could see village Brijavasis sitting next to practically princesses of the cities of the world, sitting on the ground, smoke in their eyes, trying to somehow or other fan the fire to keep it going. But the joy of the intent and the purpose will bring us unforgettable joy. The impression, we can say samskara, the impression of that experience that you had today, let us pray it remains in our heart forever, beyond this lifetime, and helps us to appreciate and evaluate that the real value of whatever we do is that Krishna's pleased with our intention. If you were in an airport and there was smoke in your eyes and dust everywhere and everybody was crowded all around you, you would be miserable. The same experience here, and we're so grateful and we're so happy. It's actually the power of the association of devotees. When we're among His Holiness Satchidananda Swami Maharaj, who we're so honored is here today, he often expresses to me the joy of being with like-minded devotees, where we could really share our hearts without feeling that we're going to be judged, or we could actually inspire, encourage, and enliven each other. Well, today in those kitchens, all different types there were great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and everyone was serving together in the smoke, in the dust, in the crowds, and everyone was so happy. People from various parts of the world, from various religious backgrounds, from various races, various economic statuses. But there was a unity within the variety, made the experience so deeply meaningful and devotional, because all of our temporary designations that in the material world we're so defensive about our designations. We worry so much about how people see us, what we're designated as. But all that disappears when there's sincere devotion. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayora Das Das Anudas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he declared this principle at the beginning of the Ratha Yatra celebration. I'm not a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. I'm none of these designations. I'm aspiring to be a servant of a servant of a servant of Lord of Gopis. That consciousness is in the heart of bhakti. We're not striving for a position. We're striving to be a servant of a servant. And by doing so, to please Shri Shri Radha Gopinath with our love. And if we have no real love that we can detect, we please them by our intent to love them. So it was really wonderful. Perhaps it's the most primitive cooking facility on earth today. I can't think of anything that could be more primitive. But yet when we came to the altar at noon and there were 3,500 preparations plus, that means more, it was just beautiful. And the most beautiful thing is when I was looking at it, I didn't know who cooked what. And whatever you cooked, except the person next to you, nobody knew that you cooked it. So there's no fame or prestige that you get if you cook the best preparation, because nobody knew it was you, except Giriraj. Thank you very much. Giriraj knows every thought, every feeling that went into every moment of each person's preparation. And the rest of us, we're just so happy to see that together, everyone, like Sankirtan, when we're all chanting together in Sankirtan, Krishna is feeling a sincerity within every devotee's heart. And our joy is just to see that this beautiful offering of so many devotees hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord are being offered to Giriraj today. The story of Govardhan Puja, as it is narrated by Sukadeva Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam, and have been commented through the books and the commentaries of so many of our beloved acharyas, brings about not only the beautiful spirit of the rasas of Vrindavan, but necessary lessons for conditioned souls of how we could actually appreciate and approach the pastimes of Vrindavan. With your permission, I'll try to speak something. The day after Diwali, Krishna, who was then 7 years old, he happened to see Nanda Maharaj and the cowhead men running here and there and everywhere around the area, arranging for ceremonies and yagyas. Nanda Maharaj was the main organizer of everything. He was busy. But Gopal, he asked him, Father, what is everyone running around about? What are you doing? Who are you doing it for? Why? Why are you doing it? Gopal's a child. Nanda Maharaj, he's Brajeshwar. He was very preoccupied. So he just carried on with what he was doing. Gopal said, Father, why are you not answering my questions? We are family. Among close family and friends, there should be no secrets. Please tell me, what are you doing? Who is it for and why? Nanda Maharaj, he explained, we are from a cowherd community. Our livelihood is based on protecting the cows, on agriculture of growing food. We are dependent on rain. Indra is the demigod who gives us rain. According to Kavi Karnapur, he explains it in this way. Nanda Maharaj said, Indra gives rain, and with the food that grows from the rain, we are offering it back to Indra. It's like we take water from Ganga and we offer it back to Ganga. This is our tradition. We are dependent on the rain. And actually, this is a beautiful culture in the sense we don't take anything for granted. When we receive something, we always feel gratitude and a type of an affectionate debt for what we have received that we must reciprocate. Krishna replied in such a way that Indra could hear every word he said. Who is Indra? In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we read that in Swargaloka, when Indra performs yagyas, Vishnu personally comes physically, spiritually, physically, to receive his offerings. He's very exalted. He's not only the superintendent of rain for the whole planet, which is an utter necessity for life, but he's also the leader of a whole sector of heavenly planets and demigods. He's very exalted, very learned, very powerful, very famous, extremely wealthy, and he's a devotee. Because he's a devotee, Krishna detected that he was influenced by his circumstances, his successes, his accomplishments, his post, and he was proud. And what happens when you become proud? You feel entitled. You begin to expect respect. And that false pride in the heart of Indra, even though he was doing such incredible service, was compromising his devotion. It was corrupting his bhakti. Now here's Gopal. He's 7 years old. He's in the eternal spiritual world of Gokula Vrindavan. He's surrounded by Nanda and Yashoda and Balaram and Sudama and Subala and Stoka Krishna and Sridama and Srimati Radharani and gopis and Surabhi cows. And he's completely immersed in loving relationships and leelas. But yet, Indra's millions of miles away in Swargaloka, and Krishna's thinking, how do I save this devotee? So he said to Nanda Maharaj in reply, why do we care about Indra? There's no need. Actually, we are all receiving what is in our destiny. If we perform good deeds, we will get good. If we perform bad deeds, we will suffer. The laws of karma are like this. Whatever our karma is, Indra must simply deliver it. We're pious people. We don't need to do this yajna for Indra. We are getting blessings from Brahmins. We are getting so many benefits. The cows are giving us such milk for all of our products, and the bulls are tilling our fields, and Govardhan Hill is providing everything for the happiness of everyone. So we should simply worship the cows, the Brahmins, and Govardhan Hill. Nanda Maharaj only wanted to please Krishna. He said, Krishna, we will do that after the Indra Puja. Because this is tradition. And it's very important that people follow tradition, generation after generation after generation. Krishna responded, we should not waste our time with Indra. Whatever preparations, whatever paraphernalia, whatever ingredients we have now for Indra, we should offer it all to the cows, the Brahmins, and Giriraj Govardhan. And then Krishna told how to do it. So we should take all this food, all our stocks of food, and make mountains and mountains of wonderful bhoga. Mountains of rice and mountains of chapatis and mountains of sabjis and mountains of salty cakes and sweet cakes and lakes of dal and lakes of kheer and lakes of condensed milk and lakes of nectar. And Krishna said, we will call this the Anakuta, and we will offer all of it to Govardhan Hill. When Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men and all the Brajavasis heard this, they were so excited to please Krishna, so enthusiastic, so joyful. They all began to prepare for the Govardhan Puja. And then Krishna gave more instructions. He said, after we cook these mountains and mountains of food, everyone should dress in their finest garments, and together with the cows in front of us, we should circumambulate parikrama of Govardhan Hill. And we should feed the cows with the most luscious grasses and receive the blessings of the Brahmins. So the whole of Brajbhumi was immersed joyfully in following Krishna's instructions. They made these mountains of food. They were so high, they expanded for miles and miles and miles. From Dhananivartan Kund all the way to Aniyor, and in all directions. And then Krishna, he personally expanded to feed each and every cow, bull, and calf. And each cow and calf was thinking, Krishna's only with me. And Krishna with his own hands was feeding each cow very sweet, fragrant, nectarine grasses. And Krishna was rubbing them under their necks and caressing them behind their ears. And he was whispering very, very sweet personal messages to each cow. And the cows responded, but Krishna could translate it. And Krishna knows the language of every of every living being. And then Krishna took one very, very special cow, and that cow represented all the cows in all of Vrindavan. And then Krishna circumambulated that cow. And beautifully, every cow of Braj was feeling Krishna was circumambulating her. Then, with the cows in front, Krishna led the historical first Govardhan Parikrama. Here it is 5,000 years later, and how many hundreds of millions of people in the last 5,000 years have done Govardhan Parikrama. And even today, it's considered to be one of the holiest, most special spiritual offerings of devotion in one's life. When they were doing the parikrama, circumambulating Govardhan Hill, the elder gopis were in carts being pulled by oxen, and they were clapping and they were singing, and the gopas, along with Krishna Balaram, they were jumping, they were dancing, they were herding their cows, they were laughing and joking, and the gopis, it is described that Srimati Radharani, seeing this beautiful sight of the Govardhan Parikrama, gazing at the beauty of Govinda, her love infused and permeated all of Vrindavan with joy and happiness and love. Everyone was gazing upon Krishna, and everyone could feel Krishna gazing upon them. They were singing, and every now and then Krishna played his flute. When the parikrama was complete, more than ever, there was such joy of singing and dancing, and Brahmins reciting mantras and holy incantations. In the midst of that incredible joy, how many people here have done Govardhan Parikrama in the past? Please raise hands. Do you know the happiness you feel when you complete the parikrama? There's two types of happiness. Many, but we'll categorize. There's the happiness of having spent so many hours and hours and hours completely immersed, absorbed in remembering Krishna, in worshiping Krishna, in being the holiest place in all of the universe. Such an experience. And for those of us who identify with material bodies, there's also, it's done. I did it. We embrace each other and congratulate each other. I remember some years ago, we were doing a Kartik Yatra, and His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj and His Grace Shrutikirti Prabhu, they were doing the Dandavat Parikrama. How long did it take you? 14 days, from sunrise till after sunset. 5 hours every day for 14 days. Taking one step, doing Dandavat, taking another step, doing Dandavat. And when I met them, they were emaciated. That means they were really thin and covered with dust. And they looked physically completely exhausted, but yet spiritually so full of enthusiasm and energy. It's really beautiful. So this first parikrama, nobody was tired because they're all in spiritual bodies. And they're all with Krishna and Balaram and Radharani and Nanda and Yashoda and the whole Brijavasi community all together are just singing, chanting, and dancing all around Govardhan Hill. And when they finally, what was the supreme pleasure they were experiencing? They did what Krishna wanted them to do. Krishna was happy. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Bhakti is Krishna's happiness is our happiness. And for Krishna, for his pure devotees, for his loving associates in the spiritual world, our happiness is his happiness. The only thing that gives Krishna happiness is our love. And the only thing that gives a spiritually advanced devotee happiness is Krishna's love. That is Vrindavan. So they were celebrating. They did the parikrama. And then something extraordinary happened. Krishna was standing with the gopas and gopis at the foot of Govardhan Hill, and suddenly he manifested himself in an enormous size on top of Govardhan Hill. There was the Govardhan Hill, and then there was Krishna, who was the size of Govardhan on top of Govardhan Hill. And simultaneously, both Krishnas and the enormous form of Krishna on Govardhan Hill, he spoke with a roaring, tumultuous voice, I am Govardhan Mountain. Krishna personally declared for all world, for all time to come, that he is Govardhan Hill. And Krishna, who is on the ground speaking to the Brajavasis, he said, look, Giriraj is so pleased with us that he's appearing as a person, and he wants to accept our offerings. At that time, Krishna bowed down to Krishna on Govardhan Hill, and all the Brajavasis bowed down. And with Krishna's direction, they offered all the mountains and all of the lakes of Bhoga to Giriraj Govardhan. And again, Govardhan Hill, Krishna spoke with a roaring voice, I am Govardhan, and I will receive all of your offerings. And with his arms and hands expanded into many, wherever there was mountains, wherever there was hills, very gracefully, very sweetly, Giriraj took all those mountains and lakes and put them in his mouth. And in this Anakuta Kshetra, where there were miles and miles of food mountains, he immediately ate everything. And then in places like Nandagang, Barsana, Kamyavan, there were Brajavasis who weren't there. They made mountains in their own villages. And the same Giriraj of Govardhan Hill expanded his arms to those places and immediately ate. And according to wherever there was mountains of food, sometimes he had a few arms, sometimes he manifested thousands of arms. And in a moment, everything was gone. And Giriraj, with his thunderous voice, he cried out. I think they know the story already. Aniyor, give me more. The Brajavasis, they didn't know what to do. There wasn't anything else. They gave everything. They gave everything they had. They turned to Krishna, what can we do? And Govardhan responded, Aniyor, give me more. And Krishna instructed one of the Brajavasis to offer Giriraj one tulsi leaf with love and devotion. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhakta prayach. And after receiving that tulsi leaf, Giriraj said, I am satisfied. Instantly, all the mountains and all the lakes reappeared, just as they were, exactly as they were before they offered it. Except now every particle of food was Mahaprasad, infused with Giriraj's mercy. Under Krishna's instruction, there was a wonderful feast. All the mountains of prasad was distributed to everyone. Everyone was given to their full satisfaction. Of course, all the cows and all the animals, they were fully fed with their foods, but without consideration of what a person's background, Krishna made sure everybody was fully satisfied. Thakur Bhakti Vinod in his beautiful prayer, we take prasad to our full satisfaction. After this glorious feast, everyone returned to their homes, supremely happy. Everyone was happy, except one person, Indra. Indra felt disgraced, insulted, not only personally, but in front of his wife, in front of his children, in front of all the demigods who worship him and honor him, in front of all his devotees. Indra has a lot of devotees. He felt insulted and disgraced in front of everyone. Now, different people have different ways of responding to insult and emotional injury. Some people just go to a quiet place and cry. Some people, they become depressed. Some people just go on with their life and pretend that nothing happened, but inside they're really upset. Some people, they understand that this pain is an opportunity for me to reevaluate what my purpose of life is, to cultivate detachment, and to helplessly take shelter of Krishna by calling out his holy name. And yet other people, they become so angry and they become obsessed with revenge. That was the category of Indra. He was obsessed to seek revenge. Why Krishna is teaching this lesson to Indra, a devotee who's so exalted? We see in Srimad Bhagavatam and our holy scriptures and spiritual histories that oftentimes Krishna reveals the best lessons for all time through the good character and qualities of a great person. And sometimes he teaches some of the most powerful lessons through the mistakes and deficiencies of very powerful people. Indra was beside himself. He called for the clouds of universal destruction, the Samvartaka clouds. These clouds, they're reserved for massive destruction. They flood planets. He called them all and furiously ordered that the residents of Vrindavan are so proud. They neglected me. For so many, generation after generation after generation, every single year, there has been Indra Puja. And now they've become, because I give them so much, and they're so prosperous because of me, they have been influenced by this insignificant, talkative little boy, Krishna, and they have defied me. The world is sometimes a mirror of our own mind. Indra is thinking the Brijabasis are completely obsessed with false pride. Why? Because he is. He ordered the clouds, go to Vrindavan and destroy it. The Samvartaka clouds began to assemble in the sky of Vrindavan. Indra told the clouds, I will be right behind you with my thunderbolts, and I'm also going to call the wind gods to send tornadoes and hurricanes and cyclones. They will see who I am. The clouds began to form, became very dark, ominous thunder rumbling in all directions, lightning bolts flashing in the sky, crisscrossing constantly, and suddenly torrents of rain began to fall. Our acharyas describe it wasn't raining in drops, literally. It was like hundreds and thousands of rivers coming down from the sky with that force, with that power. Described like a banyan tree has so many trunks coming down, and practically instantly one could not distinguish between what was highland and what was lowland. The winds began to blow. It became freezing cold. The winds were unbearable. The mother cows, seeing their little calves trembling from the cold, being tormented by the rains, the mother cows, they covered their little calves with the skin that hangs from below their necks. And as they were trembling, they were mooing in desperation, and tears were pouring from their eyes. The bulls, they were so angry, torrents of rain falling on them. They were looking up at the sky, their eyes were red with anger. And meanwhile, the Brijabasis, they ran to Krishna's house. They ran to his door, and they cried out for Krishna to save them. This is the beautiful sweetness of Vrindavan. They didn't see Krishna as God. And even calamities like this, they would not turn to him as God, because Krishna would just not reveal himself in that way. It would disturb the intimacy and the sweetness of their loving rasas. They didn't see Krishna as God, but they did, in times of danger, know that Krishna was their only shelter. The Brijabasis called out, Krishna, Krishna Mahabhaga. Oh, Krishna, please help us. We're desperate. Look at how your cows how they're suffering, how they're cold, how they're crying. Please save your cows. They have no shelter except you. And save us also. Krishna smiled. Krishna smiled. And very sweet, beautiful, calm words came from his heart. Do not be afraid. Then Krishna left his house. And according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Krishna had his Yoga Maya potency where there was torrents and torrents of storms of rain coming down right in front of wherever Krishna walked. There was no rain. So he reached Govardhan Hill, and there was not a single drop of water that touched his clothes, his turban, or his body. Krishna gracefully lifted up Govardhan Hill like a child picks up a flower. And he held the mountain of Govardhan with the tip of the littlest finger of his left hand and smiled. We have just seen through our ears the first darshan of Giridhari, the lifter of Govardhan Hill. As Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, removing it from the ground, there was a great roar. He was separating the mountain from the earth. And when Govardhan Hill was above Krishna's head, by Krishna's sweet will and by the pure service attitude of Giriraj, big clumps of earth and big boulders of stone fell from the sides of Govardhan to make a circle like a boundary wall around the whole Govardhan Hill, so that not a drop of water could get underneath. At the same time, Sudarshan Chakra came to assist Krishna in this beautiful pastime. And he was whirling around and making sure Giriraj was now the umbrella, and all the water that was coming down, the boundary walls were holding it from coming inside, and Sudarshan Chakra was drying it up so that nothing could get inside, and Anantashesha built canals just to make sure not even a drop can get under Govardhan Hill. Krishna stood on a raised section of the earth on top of a boulder. So where Krishna was standing, his lotus feet were at the head level of the cowherd men. So everyone, whatever their size, they were comfortably under the shelter of the umbrella of Giriraj. And at the same time, everyone, wherever they were, could have a perfect, comfortable view of this most transcendentally magnificent, beautiful form of Giridhari. Everyone could see his lotus feet. He was standing in Tribhanga, in a threefold bended form. And whether they were insects or birds or animals or cows or any kind of people, everyone had the full darshan of Giridhari. And then Krishna spoke under the umbrella of Govardhan Hill. He spoke, as was said, with such sweetness. His words emerged from the core of his heart and from the same lips that he plays his flute. He said, "O mother, O father, O gopas, O gopis, everyone, please come under Govardhan Hill, because we have satisfied Giriraj by our beautiful offerings. He's so happy that he's become an umbrella to give us protection." The thoroughness of Giriraj's attentiveness to give happiness to everyone. Although on top of the hill, he's receiving all this thunder, all these thunder bolts, all this rain, all these winds. Underneath hill, everything was so perfect and meticulously beautiful. There were the needs of everyone. And because Giriraj was touched by the tip of the finger of Krishna's left hand, Krishna's love for Giriraj came through that finger and infused the whole mountain with ecstatic love. The Bhagavad Gita tells, Param Dristva Nivartate. When we experience something higher, we're not disturbed by lower things. Because Giriraj was feeling the ecstasy of Krishna's love in that little pinpoint of his finger. Giriraj did not feel any inconvenience. The thunderbolts that were crashing against Giriraj, they felt like flower petals. The massive rains of destruction that flood the universe, that were pouring with such force. Giriraj felt like he was having a very refreshing abhishek, feeling Krishna's love. Giriraj was completely happy. And the infusion of Krishna's love and how Giriraj received it and reciprocated with it. The entire mountain was like that. The insects, the animals, the birds that were on top of Govardhan Hill, they were completely unaffected. And underneath the hill, the Brijbasis, they made concentric circles around Krishna. One circle, another circle, another circle, circles. And everyone was gazing upon this most extraordinary, beautiful form of Giridhari. And Krishna was gazing upon everyone and smiling. Every living being was feeling, Krishna is smiling upon me. Krishna's infinite love is flowing through his eyes on me. How is this possible? It's Achintya Shakti in its sweetest, most extraordinary form. Krishna did not have 4 heads or 8 heads. He was just a little boy standing in his Tribhanga form, and everybody around him, in all directions, close by and miles away, everyone felt Krishna smiling upon me. Everyone felt Krishna gazing upon me. And in that glance, the exchange of glances, the deepest pastimes of love took place. The Brahmins were giving Krishna blessings and chanting mantras. The young cowherd boy friends, the Gopas, they were laughing with Krishna and telling jokes with Krishna. And Krishna was joking with them and laughing with them. And the gopis, the young gopis, through his glance and his smile, he entered into the innermost core of their hearts. Krishna was speaking to them silently and through his glance and smile. Within their hearts, he was embracing them, and they were embracing him in front of everybody, and nobody knew. This was the unique feature of this Govardhan Leela that we don't find anywhere. Those in Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, Madhuryaras, they were all fully expressing their love for Krishna, and Krishna was fully expressing their love for each of the devotees in front of everybody, but everyone was personally experiencing it in a way that nobody else could understand. The gopis, their eyes were like chakora birds. The chakora is praised in poetry because their only nourishment is the moonlight. Their only food, their only drink is the moonlight. They simply wait for the moonlight. The gopis, they were drinking from the moon-like face of Lord Krishna. And Krishna's smile was like the moonbeams that were flooding their hearts with his love. Krishna smiled upon everyone. Some of the elder gopas and gopis, having Vatsalya Ras, they were feeling the ecstasy of loving distress. Yashoda Maya was seeing Krishna for so many hours. He's standing on this big hill, holding up Govardhan Hill, huge mountain. My Gopal must be so tired. He must be so hungry. His finger must be in such pain. Govardhan Hill must be so heavy. She was beside herself with the ecstasy of motherly grief. And Krishna smiled upon her and said, "Mother, this is fun. This is nothing but fun. I'm happy because we made such beautiful offerings to Govardhan, and Govardhan is so pleased. He's floating on top of my finger. I'm not holding him up. He's just happy to be floating on me." Yashoda Mai, she couldn't accept this. She said, "How can you say like this? Mountains are very heavy. If it's true that he's floating without your efforts, then let me see him go separate from your finger and float in the sky. Madhu Mangal, Krishna's Brahmin cowherd boy friend, the grandson of Purnamasi, the guru of Vrindavan, the son of Sandipani Muni, who later became Krishna's guru, Balaram. Madhu Mangal, he said to Yashoda Mai, he said, there is no effort on Krishna's part. Do not be so foolish to worry about him. On the basis of my Brahman power, Tejas, and the mantras that I'm chanting, Govardhan Hill is being lifted. Yashoda Mai said, why are you telling such foolish jokes when Krishna's suffering with this mountain on top of his finger? Madhu Mangal said, this Yashoda Mai, she started chastising Krishna. She said, Krishna, why did you have to insult Indra? Now look what you've done. Madhu Mangal, he said to Yashoda Mai, if it wasn't for Krishna insulting Indra, we would not be having this wonderful darshan of Krishna under Govardhan Hill. There's nothing like this. This is the personification of happiness. Yashoda Mai, how can you call holding a huge mountain on your finger happiness? Nanda Maharaj, he said to Yashoda Mai, don't chastise Madhu Mangal. He's telling joking words and Krishna's happy. So let him encourage Krishna the way he is. In this way, there was so many beautiful interactions among Krishna and the Brajavasis. As the storm was pouring above Govardhan Hill, there was an incredible storm happening beneath Govardhan Hill. The dark monsoon cloud was Shamsundar, his complexion like the cloud. His golden cloth that he wore was like the lightning. His peacock feather was like a resplendent rainbow. The flow of love coming from his glances and smiles was like a deluge of torrential rain that flooded the hearts of all the residents of Vrindavan. And although, because of the thick clouds of destruction and the darkness that they created, everything was fully lit by the power of Krishna's Kostubhamani and Krishna's own beautiful, sweet effulgence. As Krishna was standing in this Tribhanga form with his left hand raised to hold Govardhan Hill, his flute was in the cloth that was wrapped around his waist. Very slowly and gracefully, for the pleasure of all the devotees, while holding Govardhan Hill, Krishna's right hand took out the flute and raised it to his lips. And while smiling upon everyone, the first note emerged from his flute. As soon as the sound of that note came, there was absolute, complete silence in the whole of Braj Bhumi. There was no other sound. Everyone was absolutely enraptured by the song of Krishna's love through his flute. Kavi Karnapur describes that every single note that Krishna played in his flute song, every note was an absolute, supreme masterpiece of art. What was it like now under Govardhan Hill? Suddenly, Madhu Mangal cries out, Krishna, stop playing the flute. Another cowherd boy called out, Madhu Mangal, why are you asking Krishna to stop playing his flute? This is so beautiful. And Madhu Mangal said, I have seen the effects of Krishna's flute. It's so beautiful. It's so mesmerizing that when people hear his flute, they become unconscious. Giriraj is the greatest of the devotees. If Giriraj becomes affected by the flute, he will become unconscious and he will fall off Krishna's finger and everyone will be crushed to death. And another cowherd boy said, yes, what he's saying is correct. I have seen when Krishna plays his flute, liquid objects become solid And solid objects melt in ecstasy. If Krishna keeps playing his flute, Giriraj is going to melt in ecstasy and we will all drown to death. Another Gopa called out, no, Giriraj is very composed. He will protect us, and Krishna will always protect us. And then that cowherd boy called out, Krishna, keep playing your flute. Meanwhile, at that time, Srimati Radharani cast a glance of her love upon Krishna. Krishna began to tremble. Now, Indra, with the Samvartaka clouds, the clouds of universal destruction, with all of his thunderbolts, with tornadoes and winds, with torrents of rain, all of that he was doing, nothing affected Krishna. But Srimati Radharani, one glance affected him and overwhelmed him so much because of her prema that he was trembling. And as he trembled, Govardhan Hill began to tremble. The cowherd men, they became very much afraid. They took sticks, their cowherd sticks, and pushed it under Govardhan Hill. They were thinking, Krishna must be so tired. So many days have passed. He can't do it himself. We must help him. And thousands of cowherd men were sticking their sticks, and they were thinking they were holding up Govardhan Hill. Madhu Mangal, he chastised the cowherd men in a joking way. He said, Krishna is the brother of Balaram. He doesn't need your help. You are simply wasting your time scratching the bottom of Govardhan Hill with your sticks. After many days passed, Yashoda Mai, she was crying. Krishna, you haven't eaten in so many days. Your body, I can see your body shriveling away and your stomach is sunken and let me give you sweet cakes to eat. And Krishna said, I'm not hungry, but if you want to give me sweet cakes, you can give me. And Madhu Mangal told Krishna, yes, what Yashoda Mai is saying is correct. We will all take sweet cakes along with you. 7 days passed. These 7 days were like no others, because when Krishna would herd cows with his friends, the gopis would be longing to hear his flute, longing to see him coming back from the pastures. A moment was like 12 years or more. Yugayatam Nimeshena. And Nanda and Yashoda, in great viraha bhav, they were just in separation, waiting for Krishna to come back. And when Krishna would come back to his home, the cowherd boys would be in deep separation, waiting for the morning when they could go out into the pastures together. And Krishna was only 7 years old. There was no Rasa Leelas yet at this time. And the gopis were all longing to be with Krishna. But for these 7 days, every Brijavasi and all the animals and all the cows, they were all with Krishna 24 hours a day, 7 days, each one continuously experiencing Krishna's personal loving reciprocation. And each one was feeling the supreme, ultimate satisfaction of the soul that Krishna was personally receiving their love. It was a festival like no other festival. After 7 days, the Samvartaka clouds, they came to Indra. They said, we are exhausted. We are lost. We have failed. Indra said, what are you talking about? The Samvartaka clouds gave report. There has been massive deluge of rain we're sending, massive winds and storms in all 7 days. We have not been able to move a single grain of dust from Govardhan Hill, either on top or bottom. There are millions and millions of trees on Govardhan Hill. And with all our winds and all our storms, we have not been able to separate one single leaf from any tree. We have not been able to separate a single flower. This is very extraordinary. They're telling Indra, we have not been able in all these days to bend a single blade of grass. And we have not caused any anxiety, pain, or distress to anyone because of the reciprocation of Krishna's finger touching Govardhan Hill and Govardhan Hill reciprocating and feeling empowered by that love, by that grace. Everyone on top of Govardhan Hill and everything was ecstatically protected and unaffected by the most horrible storms. Samvartaka cloud said, "We are exhausted. We are depleted of all our strength. We give up. No more. We quit." Not because they wanted to. They couldn't move anymore. But this made Indra all the more angry. He said, "I will do it myself." And on his elephant carrier, Airavata, he began sending his most powerful thunderbolts, one after another, crashing against Govardhan Hill, who still remained just a beautiful, resplendent umbrella on Krishna's finger. When he could not affect anything, he bought the most powerful weapon of the heavenly worlds, the Vajra, made from the bones of Dadichi Muni. He threw his most powerful thunderbolt. As soon as he threw it, Krishna smiled and laughed. And that laughter had the effect where Indra's arm was paralyzed. He couldn't move it. And the Vajra froze in the sky and could not move. And the remaining clouds that Indra brought with him, not a single cloud could release a single drop of water. The great demigod, Lord Indra, collapsed. Complete defeat. He was in a helpless condition, a hopeless condition. Krishna didn't do anything to count. He just couldn't affect Krishna in any way, or any of Krishna's devotees, or any of Vrindavan. He was so frustrated. He was so exhausted. He just fell to the ground and collapsed. And in his unconscious state, Krishna meditated on showing his mercy to Indra. Because at that point, Indra realized what a fool he was. And he actually humbled himself. And Krishna gave Indra a vision in his unconscious state where he saw the beautiful cowherd boy Krishna standing in a 1,000-petal beautiful lotus flower. And then Indra understood Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And he surrendered his heart. Soon the clouds dispersed. The sun came out, and Krishna told all the residents of Vrindavan, "Now the rains have stopped." Through his glance and his smile, he embraced everyone within their hearts and said, "Now you could all go back to your homes." Nobody wanted to leave, but it was Krishna's desire, so they all went back to their homes. The cows started going, but they couldn't give up Krishna. Being with Krishna 24 hours a day, feeling Krishna personally with me only, all the cows came running back. And through his glance, Krishna herded all the cows back into Vrindavan's Goshalas. Gopal then, like a little boy puts down a flower, he set Govardhan Hill back onto the ground. When he came out from under Govardhan Hill, his family was waiting for him, to greet him, to embrace him. Yashoda Mai, she continuously massaged the little finger of his left hand and massaged his left arm. And she was kissing his finger again and again and again. And Nanda Maharaj and all the elder gopas and gopis, they were embracing Krishna and blessing Krishna. And the gopis were just embracing him within the core of their hearts. And Krishna's friends, again, laughing, joking, jumping, singing with Krishna. In Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes a chapter entitled Wonderful Krishna, where the cowherd men, they were asking Nanda Maharaj after Krishna put down Govardhan Hill, "Who is your son? He's just 7 years old. His body is softer than freshly churned butter. And yet he held up the mountain Govardhan for 7 days and 7 nights. He cries when he's hungry. He runs to us when there's thunder and lightning out of fear. But yet he defeated Indra when he was just a baby. He Putana, Sakatasura, Vatsasura, Bakasura, Aghasura, Dhenukasura. He danced on Kaliya and had him surrender. And now he's lifting this big mountain for 7 days to protect us. Tell us, who is your son Krishna? And Nanda Maharaj revealed a secret that during the name-giving ceremony, Gargamuni described that this boy will come with different colors and different ages. In Satya Yuga, he came in a white complexion. In Treta Yuga, in a red complexion. In Kali Yuga, he will come in a golden complexion. And now he has come with the complexion of a dark monsoon cloud. He will perform extraordinary acts. He will protect all the residents of Vrindavan. He will give ultimate joy to the residents of Vrindavan, and he will be as good as Lord Narayan. When the cowherd men heard this, they were thinking, what this means is our Krishna must be protected by Lord Narayan. Indra was so depressed. He was so filled with guilt and shame. He understands that Krishna is the cause of all causes. Whatever strength he has, whatever property he has, whatever life he has is only by the mercy of Krishna. And yet he tried to not only destroy Krishna, but everyone dear to Krishna. He was in such a state of guilt. He was thinking of ending his own life. At that time, Brihaspati, his guru, came, and he told Indra, you are a great fool. Everything you have is by the mercy of Krishna. He's the supreme Lord of you and all living beings. And you thought you could defeat him? You thought you could destroy him? Whatever you have is his. And now you're such a fool. To make things even worse, you're thinking of taking your own life. Your body belongs to Krishna. After you tried to destroy everything, now you're trying to destroy something else that belongs to Krishna. I don't see anything you can do except go to Lord Brahma and ask what could be done. So Indra went to Brahmaloka and he begged Lord Brahma, what can I do? Look what I've done. Brahma said, Indra, you are the greatest fool. But I can't help you because I was an illusion too. I stole all Krishna's calves and stole all his cowherd boys for a year. But there is one eternal truth, that Krishna loves his devotees who love him. The only way we can be forgiven for our offenses is if those who love Krishna and those who Krishna love seek and appeal to him to give us mercy. He tried to destroy all Krishna's cows. Krishna loves cows. Go to Surabhi. She lives in a special planet in our universe. Surabhi is the mother of the cows of Vrindavan. Krishna loves her. And give her this message from me. Here is the mighty King of Heavens with all the power and all the opulences. And he comes before a simple mother cow. And Indra, with his priceless crown, bows his head at the hooves of mother cow and is crying and begging. Brahma sent me. I beg forgiveness. I tried to destroy your children. Please forgive me. And Surabhi said, let us go back to Brahmaloka. And Brahma requested Surabhi that bathe Krishna with your milk, perform abhisheka in gratitude, and beg for forgiveness on behalf of Indra. They came just a few minutes walk from here is Surabhi Kund. We'll speak in more detail when we describe our parikrama. But in that place, on that day, it was on the Ekadasi. On the first day after Diwali was the Govardhan Puja. And then Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill for 7 days. And 2 days after he put the hill down, Indra came down with Surabhi. And Indra, from a little distance, he approached Krishna and bowed his dandavats, and with folded palms was praying for Krishna's forgiveness. Gopal was so considerate. On that day, he was herding his cows with his friends, and he decided to just go off alone because he didn't want to further disgrace Indra. He just privately was inspecting the grounds of Vrindavan to see how everything was. And as he was walking alone, Indra was bowing down to him, the king of heaven. Krishna completely ignored him, would not even acknowledge his existence. This just devastated Indra more than ever. And he approached Surabhi and begged her. And Surabhi approached Krishna. And she said, Indra, he is deeply repenting. He wants to surrender to you. Please forgive him. And on the intervention of Surabhi, Krishna glanced upon Indra. And then Indra offered beautiful prayers, humbled himself, and surrendered his heart. And Krishna forgave him. Surabhi said, you are our Indra, you are our Lord. Myself and the cows, we want to offer Abhishek with the milk of our love. And at Govinda Kund, the cows offer their milk to bathe Krishna. And seeing that, Indra decided to have an Abhishek. It invited all the demigods. Brahma was the head priest, Shiva, Narada, Varuna, Agni. They had a wonderful Abhishek ceremony, and Indra declared, in the spiritual world of Goloka, your name is eternally Govinda. And today we proclaim that you are our Govinda. They offered a wonderful arti after the Abhishek. There's great details given in some of the books by our beloved acharyas. And after they all went away, the cowherd boys came, and they happened to see Krishna sitting there alone, and there was these heavenly bejeweled arti paraphernalia, wonderful chamaras and wonderful lamps. And then they took Krishna and put him on a stone of Govardhan hill like a throne, and they began to do arti to Krishna. But as they were doing, they were laughing, they were joking, they were dancing, and Krishna was smiling and laughing and joking at them. And when the demigods looked down and saw the spontaneous, pure, innocent, sweet love of the cowherd boys, the demigods realized, in comparison, our devotion is insignificant. When Krishna wants to protect us, he has his own perfect plan. The pastimes of Govardhan Puja and the lifting of Govardhan Hill are very much a life and soul of devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Puri, one sannyasi came to visit and gave him a small stone from Govardhan Hill. And for several years he wore it around his neck. He loved that Shila as the very body, the very form, the very personality of Krishna. And Kaviraj Goswami says that Govardhan Shila was constantly bathed by the tears of Lord Chaitanya's love. This is not just a fashion. The depth, the purity of Lord Chaitanya's message to us. How sacred is Govardhan Hill? How sacred is every stone of Govardhan Hill? How sacred is every bush and every blade of grass and every dust upon Govardhan Hill? Let us, with all humility and all gratitude, feeling ourselves so undeserving but so fortunate receiving causeless mercy, celebrate this beautiful day of Govardhan Puja. Thank you very much.